Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special episode of the MacGuffie Show, brought to you by MAC space capital G U double F motherfucking LES in his house. Longest day of the year. Salutes to you. Cheers to everybody. Cheers to good life. Say something. Say hi. Dire ciao.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, enjoy. See, we're gonna get high.
Smoke.
Smoke, sì.
Farai il suo più bel viaggio. Vai, fuma, non mai.
Vai, piano piano, non ti preoccupare.
If I didn't say hi to these guys, they wouldn't be getting me high right now. It's funny. In English it makes sense. Inglese fa senso. Yeah. I used to smoke a lot of weed. I used to smoke a crazy amount of weed. I smoked a lot of weed. And speaking of crazy, last night was the full moon. It was the full moon here in Koh Phangan, Thailand, and this island happens to be very famous for its full moon parties. So right now I'm making this video. I'm going to talk about exposure. I'm going to talk about how I used to smoke weed and why I don't anymore. And if I didn't give myself exposure, then I would probably be smoking a lot of weed tonight, celebrating the full moon at the parties downtown here on the island. But I'm not. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain why in this video. I'm going to touch upon a number of things. I'm going to talk about why I used to smoke weed. I'm going to talk about why I don't anymore. But the overall topic of this discussion is exposure, the concept of exposure. I'm going to go into that even more deeply. So yeah, I'm going to use a wonderful example of smoking weed and not smoking weed, but the overall general purpose of this video is to further allow you to relate to the concept of exposure and then implement it into your life. It's something that I'm doing right now here at an ashram on Koh Phangan, Thailand, giving myself exposure to yoga. I'm going to talk about that more. So if you want to see Evan high as fuck, you're going to see plenty of that. Plenty of old footage of that. If you want to hear me talk about my old habits, where I am now, and where I'm going to go in the future, lock in, enjoy, let's fucking do this. Sit back, relax, maybe light up one, and let's go.
All that I want in this life is the chance to do my thing. All that I want in this life is the chance to do my thing.
Yeah.
I want the top. All my people right there in the back of the spot. I need the top. If you know me, you don't know me to stop. I need the top. All my people there in the back of the spot. Let them get shot. Yeah.
Let's start on why I used to smoke weed, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Okay, so the primary reason why I used to smoke weed, which I did plenty in my teens, almost every day for some periods of time, was to feel good. It was to feel feelings that I wasn't already feeling. The other reason, another great reason, and it's super effective at doing this, is to make friends. Okay, you see me now, you see me social, you see me being extroverted, I can make friends with any age group from any part of the world. That's great, but I wasn't always able to do that. And when you're entering high school and you get flooded with new faces, new ideas, and a lot of new competition, you want to be able to make friends, and you want the fastest and most efficient way possible. For me, that was marijuana, and that's ultimately when I started smoking weed. It was when I got right into high school, and only a couple months after being in high school, I got arrested for smoking weed. No bueno. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. I might go into depth later in this video. It's something that I've never really talked about, especially publicly. I don't tell most people this, so based on the vibe of this video, I'm going to share maybe a little bit, maybe a lot with you later as I elaborate. But going back to it, I wanted to make friends. It was a super easy, super effective way of making friends. It has its merits. It's fantastic. I mean, I could teach you social dynamics on my YouTube channel, or I could just tell you to smoke weed. I mean, that'll do magnificent things for your social life, okay? And if you want to get up with the billionaires, then you just start, blowing coke. But anyway, whole digression. Anyway, so I want to smoke weed. I want to make friends, and I wanted to smoke weed, but I didn't know any other way how to. That's the key. I wanted to be relaxed. I wanted to feel better in my body. I wanted to reduce the anxiety and depression that I had. Not that it was, full encompassing and I was really suffering from it, but everybody has a certain degree of it, and I wanted to decrease that. The only way that I knew up until that point, and for a while after smoking weed, after beginning to, was marijuana. And it was incredibly effective, okay? You're not stupid if you smoke weed. If you feel A and you take B and then you get to C, that's really fucking smart. I mean, that's fucking genius. If you're thirsty and you drink water and then you're not thirsty, you just did something highly fucking intelligent. You satiated whatever it was and you fixed the fucking problem. But here's the thing. Marijuana was not necessarily fixing the problem in a holistic sense because there were consequences to smoking weed, okay? I smoked weed plenty. I had plenty of fun with it, and it had its pros. It had fantastic pros. I was able to go to sleep, get better sleep. I was able to relax. I was able to be fun and creative with my friends in certain periods of time and just let loose, okay? Just fucking let go. But it came and it had its consequences, which I'm going to talk about, and ultimately, which I'm going to talk about why I don't smoke weed anymore. But certain consequences were getting arrested, having something on your record that, you know, eventually got expunged, but it caused a lot of stress on your relations with not only yourself, it caused a lot of stress on me, with myself, but with my friends, with my family, and with other people that found out about it, okay? I got arrested 2 months after being in high school, okay? That's no bueno when you're 14. You're only fucking 14. You're a little kid. Like, you shouldn't be getting arrested for this shit. Yes, it's super effective in making friends, but you can make friends with not the best people. It's so good at making friends that you can make friends with those that you probably shouldn't. You can have such tight bonds with those that you shouldn't, that they lead you to do shit that you probably shouldn't, okay? So what I'm going to get into later is that you can get all the benefits from marijuana without the consequences. But anyway, I felt these certain things. I wasn't feeling good in my body. I wasn't feeling super relaxed. I had a bit of social anxiety, and marijuana fixed it. And it was fixing it for most of my high school. It was fantastic. Now, sit back, relax. You're going to see Evan high as fuck over the years, and you know, just try to notice where it was making me be able to let go, to let loose, to laugh more, to have a bigger smile on my face, to feel more in my body, more sense of kind of being me. And ultimately, how it allowed me to be more present and not escape, but avoid the outside world of what's going on. Just check out the following footage, and then we're going to come back right. Viewer discretion advised. I just smoked a jet. Oh, and I just got this fucking leather jacket, and I'm really liking the way this looks and makes me feel. Peace out. Oh shit, edit that out, edit that out. Ba ba da da da. Here. Bite this apple. Oh, he's got it. Okay. As you can tell, I'm kind of stoned right now. But in 24 hours, I will be in Venice. Voila. I am Vestiti Nobili. This is it. Why am I talking so low? It's because I'm talented. Like, this is, odds are, percentage-wise, I don't mean to be C-3PO right now.
Are you good?
I don't mean to be
Hi, I'm taking over Evan because Evan is incapable of making his videos right now. So I'm Evan,
totally capable,
I'm
bro.
Evan McGuffles.
No.
Can I say it louder, please?
You're Evan McGuffles. I'm Evan McGuffles. Nobody else is. Will the
Don't
real
get it
Slim
twisted.
Shady just please stand up? Okay, odds are that this is the last sunset that we will see while in Switzerland. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I'm doing everything with my life. Life is good. I'm high on life. So you could probably see that I was happy as fuck. I was in the moment, I was in my body, I was goofing around, and I was high as fuck. The coolest part about that, here's the fucking coolest part. Check this out. The coolest part about that is that I'm high as fuck right now. I'm high as fuck right now. That's why I'm wearing these glasses. No. I'm high as fuck right now, but for other reasons. I'm high as fuck on life, man. It's a lifestyle. Now, as cliche and fucking gay and bro surfer dude as that is, it's fucking true. Okay, and I'm explaining why. The reason that I don't smoke weed anymore, as we get into this, the reason that I don't smoke weed anymore is because I gave myself the exposure to other methods. Imagine yourself going down a highway, and it's a one-lane highway, and you're in a car, and you're driving forward, and you're going through life, and you feel a certain way, and you can only make one fucking decision because that's all you know. That's all I knew when I used to smoke weed. Oh, I feel anxious, I feel depressed, I feel like I have all these looming responsibilities and obligations that I need to tend to that are taking away from the present moment. How do we get rid of them? Well, just light up a fucking J, and then take a hit from a bong, and then color, and do a coloring book, and it'll take everything away. And it did. It was fucking fantastic. But here's the real keynote here, and this is the essence of exposure. It's the only thing that I knew. It's the only way that I knew to get rid of that anxiety, to make myself feel good. And think about it for yourself. Why do you smoke weed? Why do you do certain things? Is there even a choice involved? For me, there was not a choice involved. I didn't know about meditation. I didn't know about fasting. I didn't know about yoga. I didn't know about exercising and all this crazy, amazing, super effective stuff that can get you from A to B without the consequences, without the side effects, okay? Yes, it'll take a little bit more work, but it'll satiate the craving. It'll get you feeling good without the same consequences, if any consequences at all. Let me elaborate. The reason that I don't smoke weed anymore is because I started to meditate, I started to eat a lot better, and I started hammering down on social dynamics. That's essentially it. Now, it's not a matter of saying to yourself, oh yeah, if I meditate, then I won't have to smoke this weed, okay? I meditated every day for 3.5, almost 4 years, and I still smoked weed. I still fucking smoked weed. It wasn't like a binary like, oh, he started meditating. Oh, no more weed. No. I needed to give myself, keyword, that exposure. And what I talked about in the previous video about exposure is that it's a way to penetrate the subconscious. It's a way to penetrate the habit pattern of your fucking mind, okay? You can DP your fucking mind if you understand exposure. It is magnificent for me. It's a dynamic that's played out in my life, and now that I'm aware of it, and now with this video, you're aware of it, you're gonna better be able to use it at your disposal, to your advantage, and ultimately make way more fucking proactive decisions with your life. Exposure is giving yourself the feeling to a new option or a new way of something. Exposure penetrates the subconscious mind, which is in control of your feelings and your emotions. Your conscious mind is more of your thoughts and your analytical, future, past, pattern recognition. If you could fucking speak correctly, that's your conscious mind, okay? So I still gotta work on that. But the subconscious mind is ultimately where you make most of your decisions from. And that's why it's so powerful. And if you can kind of cultivate it and shape it to what you want it to be, you can really live your life like a fucking bow and arrow cutting through the wind of bullshit, okay? If you can give yourself certain feelings, and like I did, I gave myself certain feelings and emotions, and therefore my subconscious knew about 2 lanes on the highway. Before, we're driving down, we're going down a path, and I don't feel that good, blah, blah, blah. What do? I do the only thing that I know. But if I give myself the exposure to an alternative, then I can make a decision. Yes, in the future, I can smoke weed. I can choose to smoke weed. But now, after giving myself the exposure of what it's like to meditate every day for a certain period of time, what it's like to naturally get that high, or to naturally feel that relaxed, to allow the outside world to escape my conscious and my realm of presence, naturally via meditation rather than smoking, I can still choose to smoke marijuana. But I make that choice knowing that it's a fucking choice. I'm not just reacting to a biological drive that I'm feeling. I can make a fucking choice, and I can say to myself, yes, I can either meditate, or yes, I can smoke weed. Both are viable options. What do I want to do? Now here's the key point. Well, there's a lot of key points, but here's a very important point. Meditating takes time. It takes effort, and it's nowhere near as quick and simple as smoking weed. No way. And that's why we have way more potheads than meditators in the world. And that's why it took me 4 years of meditation to start deciding and start having my subconscious recognize that meditating every day is way more effective and you can be high all the fucking time rather than choosing to smoke weed. That's ultimately what happened. That is fucking big. Like, it's way easier to roll up a doobie or to pack a bong, inhale, go click. I can't do a bong sound, but maybe the wind will help me. It's way easier to pack a bong and inhale than to sit down, stop what you're doing in the middle of the fucking day when you have all this momentum to meditate. Okay, but if you do it in the morning, then you don't have that same momentum. Anyway, that's a digression. But it's way easier to inhale on a bong than it is to sit down for 10 minutes and listen to Headspace, observe your breath, and then get this very similar result. Okay, I'm not saying that meditating is gonna make you high as fuck, it's gonna make you stoned, it's gonna make your eyes red, it's gonna fucking do all that crazy shit, but it will get you feeling, well, whatever. And that kind of brings us to our next point. The next point about exposure that I wanna make is that it takes some sort of sacrifice. You need to sacrifice something, whether it be time, energy, money, blah, 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 not smoking weed, in order to give yourself a certain degree of exposure. And the reason that I'm making this video right now, and the reason that I made the exposure video a week ago, is because I'm giving myself exposure right now. I'm currently making this video on top of the ashram that I've been at for 3 weeks. It's the reason that I'm in Thailand. And right now, over the past 3 weeks, I've been giving myself exposure. I've been penetrating, allowing my subconscious mind to feel what it's like to do yoga all day, every fucking day for 3 weeks. I'm giving myself that exposure to what it feels like, to do this yoga. For years, I've been imagining what it's like. I've been imagining, oh, I should do yoga today. Oh, I should go into a rising cobra and sun myself like a cobra, have my back stretched out, and then I'd feel good. But have I done that in my life? Fuck no, and my back's been really fucked up. All right, that's a whole digression. But the fact that I'm giving myself the exposure to what it feels like to do yoga will allow me to make the choice in my future days if I want to perform yoga or not. If I want to take the time to stretch out, to put in 1 or 2 hours doing asanas and breath work, pranayamas, all that shit, you know, breathing with one nostril in. It sounds kind of stupid until you do it, and after a couple of days and you feel balanced and equalized as fuck, equanimous, that's the word, as fuck, right? So, I'm giving myself this exposure to what it feels like to do yoga, and then in further decisions on where I want to allocate my time in the future, my subconscious mind will recognize what it felt like and the emotions, the feelings of doing yoga. I would love to be able to make a perfectly rational decision. To have my conscious mind make an actual decision would be fan-fucking-tastic. And I believe only an enlightened person or a perfect mind can really make a perfectly rational decision. I make a lot of my decisions. I try to be rational, but feelings and emotions not get in the way, but they're mainly the deciders. They're greatly the deciders, and pretty much every single decision I make is somewhat rooted in a certain emotion or feeling. Okay, there's actually many philosophies out there that say that every single emotion is derived from the urge to have sex, which is a fucking feeling. But anyway, especially as a man. Anyway, I'm giving myself the exposure. I'm allowing my subconscious mind to feel what it's like to do yoga every day. And then in the future, I'll be able to make those decisions and have that emotion come into the equation for making future decisions. Right now, it's not in there. I haven't felt what it's like before this. But now, as I make future decisions about my time and where I want to allocate my energy, yoga will be in the realm of possibilities according to my emotions and my feelings, which, personally, govern a lot of my decision-making power. That's going to end up in a more proactive decision or decisions in the future. But, key point, this exposure has come at a cost. I've been doing 6 to 8 hours of asanas 6 days a week for the past 3 weeks. That's a lot of fucking time. That's a lot of fucking asanas. If you don't know what an asana is, it's one of the yoga poses, okay? That's only one section of yoga. Actually, there's breathing techniques and stomach techniques and other kind of postural techniques, but asanas are like the cobra, the thing where you go like this. I don't know all the names. We do a lot of them on the floor. You do the boat, you do the wheel, you do the table. Anyway, we're doing 6 to 8 hours of asanas plus evening lectures and study and group discussions. That's a lot of fucking time. And in order to give myself the exposure, I have to give up something else. Keyword that I'm going to come back to right now. We're coming back to it. Sacrifice. I had to sacrifice time, energy, and the third one, which might be the biggest, what else could I be doing with that? The opportunity costs of dedicating so much time and effort to giving myself this exposure. What else could I be doing with this time and energy, right? So, on one hand, I want to give myself this exposure. On the other hand, I have to sacrifice something. That sacrifice is the hardest fucking part. But if you can be aware, maybe because of this video, if you can be aware that if you can get over the sacrifice, you will lead a fucking high fidelity life. If you can understand that that sacrifice is so fucking important and will unlock different parts of your mind, okay, it'll penetrate your fucking subconscious mind. If you can fucking realize that, you'll be able to lead a life in such high fidelity that it'll look fucking weird to you what most people are doing with their lives, as far as reacting to certain stimuli, reacting to certain biological drives, making decisions that just don't make any fucking sense. The sacrifice is key, and it's the hardest part, and it's really, quite honestly, the reason why most people don't give themselves certain exposures, okay? I'm going to touch upon sacrifice more, but I'm going to give you a couple examples to really feel it out right now. One reason that a lot of people aren't in shape, I think pretty much every single human would go to the gym every single day or 5-6 days a week. Seriously, I think every single fucking human would go to the gym at least 5 days a week if they knew what it felt like to feel in shape and to already be doing that. Every fucking buddy. Maybe, you have like health issues, but I think everybody, if they felt how good it feels to be on a proper diet, to be meditating, and to be going to the gym and building your body, sculpting it, shaping it to whatever you want it to be. And I'm not saying you want to be a jacked bodybuilder who has to turn sideways to go through the door, but if you want to be in shape, fit, feeling good in your physiology, you will go to the gym 5 days a week. And the only reason that people don't go to the gym all the fucking time and don't take care of their health as much as they might otherwise do is because they merely don't know what it's fucking like to feel that good. It's a matter of that. I think most people smoke weed because they merely, it's just a matter of they don't know an alternative. And that's exactly why I used to smoke weed. Until I gave myself the exposure of feeling the same, if not better, in my body without smoking weed via meditation, then I would still be smoking weed today. If I didn't give myself that exposure, I would still be smoking weed, and guess what? I would still be incurring all of the consequences of that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to ruin your life, and there's plenty of functioning weedaholics or potheads out there, and I'm not saying that you're a pothead if you smoke weed every day. That's totally fine. I don't mean to put a label on it, but there's plenty of people out there who smoke plenty of weed and have plenty of success in their life. I understand that, but let's be real. It still has consequences. As much as you don't want to face it, you may not want to admit it, it does have consequences. I'm a big advocate for marijuana. I think it's a wonderful drug. And of all the drugs, it's probably the best to do on a regular basis. But it's the best of the worst, and you just don't know what's the best of the best yet because your subconscious hasn't felt it. It makes a lot of fucking sense to keep going down the path that you're going and to hit the button that makes you feel good until you know that there's two buttons. One might take a little bit more time, but it ultimately ends up and gives back a greater result. The development of that button takes sacrifice. What am I sacrificing by being here? Well, I'm sacrificing my time, energy, and what else could I be doing? One big thing that I could be doing instead of doing all this fucking yoga is working out, okay? You can see, maybe you haven't, but if you take a look, I do not look in the same physique that I have in previous videos. In most of my other videos, I had more muscle, I was a little bit wider, and I was just a little bit more beefy, okay? And that's because I've been working out like 4 to 5 to 6 days a week for the past, every fucking week for like the past almost 5 years, okay? And it's been a big fear of mine. One of the reasons that I've been so consistent with it is because it's a big fear of mine to let go and not work out for a certain period of time. Even when I travel, even when I go on vacations, I still work out. And so losing the muscle mass that I have and losing the physique that I've built for myself is a fear of mine. And I'm going through that experience right now because I'm doing strenuous activity. It's not the same as resistance training in the gym, working out and building a muscle, building up an excess of muscle. It's not that kind of exercise. It's a different kind of exercise, but I don't have enough energy or time to fucking go to the gym. So, what am I doing right now? I'm exposing myself to a new avenue, a new way of exercise, but I'm also having to simultaneously sacrifice what I currently practice. I'm not able to work out. I'm not able to maintain or even further develop my body. And that's a big ass fucking fear. To watch, my muscles, not that I was super fucking jacked, but to watch my muscles atrophy. And then in future videos, I'm going to be showing how I can build that back up. But for now, I have to sacrifice that part of me to give myself that exposure. And that's what's so hard. And that's really why I haven't done it yet. That's really why I haven't done most different kinds of exercise programs. It's because I've been too scared. Honestly, I've been way too scared to lose what I've built. I've put in so much time, so much fucking energy, so much dedication, and I've sacrificed so much already to build up what I have, well, not what I have anymore, but what I had before starting this program, right? I put in so much fucking shit in order to be able to build up the body and the physique and the lifestyle that I had. And there was a lot of sacrifice in that of itself. A lot of fucking sacrifice. And I've been scared to dive into and delve into different sort of ventures as far as exercise. I haven't gotten into Pilates. I haven't gotten into yoga yet. I haven't gotten into a lot of aerobic, running, that sort of shit. I've mainly just been stuck with resistance training. As far as exercise with me, the only avenue that I knew, and that I knew upon coming here, was going to the gym, lifting some weights. I pick shit up and I put it down. That shit. That's all that I knew. I didn't know about stretching or flexibility. I didn't know about asanas or breathing exercises. I didn't know about all this cool stuff until I gave myself the exposure. And so when I want to exercise, when I want to feel good, I lift up a weight. But that's the only avenue, that's the only lane that I know. Think about this in your life. Where have you not given yourself the exposure that maybe you should or that you maybe deserve just because of a bit of fear? I've been massively fearful about doing this, about losing this physique. And it's fucking freaky. Every day I wake up and I get a little bit skinnier and I get a little bit less toned and my muscle decreases a little bit and my chin gets saggy and I'm just like, what the hell is going on? But I'm giving myself what it feels like to do yoga, and guess what? It feels fucking amazing. Now, once this exposure is over, I'm only going to sacrifice a certain amount, and I think that you should only sacrifice a certain amount. Once I get through this, and once the program ends, I'm going to be able to have the freedom to do whatever I want. But here's fucking important. Here's the important thing. I'll be able to do whatever I want, knowing that there's a choice, and I'll be able to build up my body again, and also simultaneously integrate yoga into my exercise regimen. That's fucking fantastic. Before, I wasn't able to do that. I put exercise, resistance training on the back burner in order to learn something new, expose my subconscious to something, pick up a new understanding of a way of doing something, and then in the future, I can do both, or one or the other. You are smoking weed, you are doing something, I am still doing something in other parts of my life where I do it because I don't know options. The development of that option takes sacrifice. And I have to sacrifice a lot of shit to be here, but I'm willing to do it because, on one hand, I recognize the power of meditation. I understand consciously that yoga is kind of a physical exercise that complements meditation very effectively, and now my subconscious mind feels that. Before, it was only intellectual. It was an intellectual understanding of yoga, okay? I get it. You move this way, you change your prana, you balance your energy, you become more aligned both physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Yeah, I get that. That makes a lot of sense to me reading it in a book or listening to some random dude talk about it on YouTube. But to actually do it, experience it, and more importantly, feel it, to feel it is a whole nother level, a whole new dimension. And that dimension is from which you make most of your decisions. If you're like me, we're human. We're doing this shit together. We're living this life together, collaboratively. You're listening to me and I'm talking to you collaboratively. We're on the same fucking team. We're both humans in this joy of life. Let's fucking do this. Let's make each other better. let's make decisions in higher fidelity. Let's act more proactively. Let's make decisions instead of just reacting to things, right? Now, as I go through the rest of this course, I'm going to have and develop a better understanding and more feeling of what it's like to do yoga. And as I continue my practice throughout my life, fortunately, yoga is one of those things where I could bring anywhere as long as I have like a 2x4 space to do it and some free time, I'll be able to continue practicing, right? Now, more importantly, where are you preventing yourself from growing and making better decisions because you haven't given yourself certain exposures? Big question. Where in your life could you be making better decisions if you knew about an alternative? Now, I talked about intellectual and experiential understandings in a couple videos back. That is fucking big, because if you didn't intellectually know that meditation could benefit your life in the same way that marijuana does, just in a kind of different way, and it has a different input, if you didn't intellectually know that, then you probably wouldn't give yourself the opportunity to experience it and penetrate your subconscious mind with the exposure that comes from meditating, right? Like if you feel anxious and you feel depressed and you need a solution and you didn't know even intellectually that there are any other solutions, well then you would really be stuck. So on one hand, I'm not saying that you just have to go do a bunch of shit. There's a balance. Where could I be making better decisions? Where could I level up? Where could I tighten the wrench, notch up to a new level of decision making? That's less about how I feel and more about what I truly want to do with my days and my time. Where could I be doing this? These are questions that I ask myself, and I want you to ask yourself that shit, because after realizing it and after being able to reflect upon where I want to give myself better exposure, where I want to be making better decisions, I can ultimately live a life in higher fidelity and ultimately live the life that I want to lead. Not a lot of people want to feel stressed out, want to feel anxious, and then satiate that with marijuana. I mean, maybe you don't even realize this concept yet, and I don't mean to get too, I don't want to be like condescending or anything, but a lot of people don't realize that they want to be feeling good already with no marijuana needed. I mean, imagine if you could be high all the fucking time. I told you hypothetically, this is real, but just in a hypothetical scenario, that you could be just as high, if not higher, without marijuana than with marijuana. What would you do? Not even talking about how much time and the input needed versus, it's taking a bong rip versus sitting down. Disregarding that, what would you choose? What would you choose? What would I choose? Back in the day, I would probably choose the latter. I'd rather feel good all the time without marijuana. But I didn't know that there was a fucking choice. I'm gonna make a couple more points and then wrap this thing up. So right now, the cool thing about video is that you can see and you can follow my journey firsthand as it's happening, about the exposure that I give myself. And I can talk to you about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then in the future, if you subscribe and you tag along for the ride, you'll be able to see where I'm gonna be giving myself exposure in the future. Just a couple things that I'm gonna give myself exposure to are breath work and cold exposure training. And actually, they come together in tandem with each other in a program called the Wim Hof method, which I'll probably be doing maybe later this year. But those are two things that I don't know about right now. I haven't felt either one of those right now. Intellectually, I know that they might be beneficial for me, but my subconscious hasn't felt them yet. I haven't learned about them. I haven't gone through the process and the experience of cold exposure, like intense cold exposure training, proper training, and breath work, whether it be holotropic or some other sort of breath work. I'm not really sure what I'm going to pursue. There's fucking past life regression breath work where you have like rebirthing experiences just from oscillating your breath in particular ways into particular depths. That's shit fucking crazy. I don't know about it experientially. Intellectually, I'm like, yeah, that shit would be great. Why don't I just do that? Oh wait, I haven't felt what it's like. I can't make that fucking decision. So subscribe, like, and engage with me. Engage with me, and more importantly, engage with yourself. Engage yourself, ask yourself these questions, follow me as I conduct this journey, follow my journey, and then see where you can do this for your journey. This video is wonderful, and I get to express myself. I get to share with you a little bit about me and stuff that I wouldn't otherwise share about smoking weed in the past and where I come from. And that's great, but ultimately, I'm not making this video for me. I'm making this video for you because I love you. I want you to benefit in the same ways that I have because it's fucking dope. I'm living a life where I don't need weed to get high. Love yourself, give yourself the fucking exposure. It's wonderful to be able to give yourself this exposure. That's love, that's self-love, that's compassion, that's kindness for yourself. That's fucking wonderful to be able to give yourself that sort of gift. To sacrifice something, sacrifice a different part of your life in order to give yourself a gift. That is fucking wonderful. Be thankful for that, and on the other hand, be thankful that it's even possible, that the universe has coerced itself in a certain way for you to even be able to experience certain things, for me to even be able to experience. On one hand, it's wonderful that I love myself enough to sacrifice parts of my life and be able to come here to experience yoga. That's wonderful, okay? And here. And then around me in the fucking universe, that it's even possible that a fucking ashram exists, that there are gurus, teachers who have been doing this and dedicating their entire life to pioneering these fucking techniques for years, for thousands of years, doing it, passing it on to their disciples, to their pupils over time, and that these techniques and these ways of life, these options, these lanes exist. It's wonderful. It's fucking so grateful that these lanes exist. Love yourself, give yourself the exposure to these new lanes, these new avenues of making decisions, and then live a life in higher fidelity and ultimately do what you want to do. I could teach you a bunch of shit, but I can't give you what you want to do. Only you can give yourself what you want to do. I can give you the tools and facilitate that sort of recognition for you, the tools that you need to climb through or up the mountain, whatever you're doing with the mountain. I could give you the hatchet and sickle. I'm not trying to get into communism, but I give you that shit to climb. You're the one that's gonna have to climb. I've been climbing, it's dope. Trust me, the climb is worth it. The climb is fucking worth it. You're worth it. You're fucking worth the climb. If you don't believe so, I do. You are fucking worth the climb. You are worth the sacrifice. The exposure is fucking worth it. I love you. Thank you for watching. See you later. Let's go do some yoga and look like pretzels. Ugh. So I fall over and die and don't give myself any more exposure.
You want to say bye?
You want to say, just say bye. You don't even have to say hi, just say bye.
I just put like my hand into the video. Okay? I'm gonna be like this.
You're not in there.
I'm not. But I don't want to be. I want my hand.
Yeah, your hand's not in there. Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
There it is. Nice.
That was a pretty cool one.
Sorry, buddy, but I got you on that one. That's why I have two.
Yeah, I know.
Hey!
And I also realized that you really got a good background for your videos.
Not a bad background, right?
Yeah. Do you always get such great background for your videos?
Yeah.
So Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris were sitting in the desert in the back of a ute, and Bruce Lee turns to Chuck Norris and he says, "Chuck, how many push-ups can you do?" And Chuck Norris looks at him and he says, "All of them."
Oh God, I love Chuck Norris jokes. I love him.